Students, we are going to talk about the safety on this radial arm saw machine. You'll have to take the radial arm saw quiz in Quia and pass it by 100% before you are able to performance test on this machine. And then after the performance test, you would then be able to use it for your project. So as I said, this is the radial arm saw, and it does a lot more than what we're going to use it for. And the reason why we're not going to use it to its full capacity is because, for example, this could rip like a table saw, but we have two table saws, so we don't plan on using it as a ripping device. It will do compound miters, but we have two compound miter saws. So the main purpose we're going to use our radial arm saw for is cross-cutting, squaring our panels and our project pieces, step 3 and 4 in the cutting to size and squaring process. So just to let you know, these two handles on top, they are, if we were to bring them forward, we could cut miters, okay, angles on panels, but we don't have that as a plan. You know, we could do it as a special setup if needed in the future, okay, but that's not in our planned projects as of right now, okay. We have the ability to unlock here, and this is our miter scale, so we can tip our blade at an angle to create a bevel. Right now we've got it locked in at 0, okay, and we don't have a need to change that. So basically what I'm telling you is, if we have a need to set this machine up differently than it is now, I will be the one to set that up. Okay, right now I've got it dialed in for you, so it'll cut square when we cross cut. Okay, so this is the yoke. We can pull this out, and if we unlocked it with the handle here, we could rotate the whole yoke and motor, so we could then feed boards and rip the boards. Okay. But once again, we're using the table saws for that. Back here is our lock for our column. We could raise and lower this if need be. Right now, I've got it set so it cuts about a 1/16 of an inch into the table, and that's all the deeper I want to go. So we don't need to adjust that either. Okay. Here is the lock on the machine. When you're done with the machine, I do want you to lock it down so it can't come out. So the next person will have to unlock it, okay, for it to be operated. All right. So once again, we're just using this to cross cut, you know, for our rough size of parts, and also the 4-step process cutting to finish size to square our parts. Okay, here's the on-off switch. This is what it sounds like. Takes it a second or two to get full speed, and it runs for quite a while, and that's why we want to lock it down when you're done with it. Okay. We're going to leave the gate open on this machine so you won't have to worry about it, because it's so high. And by the way, they undersized the tubing on the vent system, so we do still get quite a bit of dust, but we've got it opened up as best we can. Maybe that'll change in the future, but that's where we've got it set right now. I'm going to go ahead and put on my GoPro and make a cut for you as an example, and then we'll talk about the specific safety rules in Quia, the Quia test that you'll have to take. So once again, when you come in here to make your cut, I'm just going to take off an inch here, straightest edge against the fence, right? Here's the fence. Keep it flat on the table, fingers 6 inches from the blade is minimum, and that goes for all of our machinery. Okay, here we go. Let's make a cut. Left hand holds, okay, 6 inches away, right hand pulls it through, nice and slow, just far enough to make our cut, then we return it slowly. And, all right, do you see the piece of wood stuck in there? So I'm gonna turn it off and I'm gonna lock it down right there. Once in a while, we'll get something like that happen where, can you see it? It's wedged itself in there, and I didn't try to make that happen, but it's a good example of what could happen. That's why we go slow. Typically when we go slow, it'll blow that piece out, and you know, we'll take care of the scrap after we get it back behind the fence. We don't want to fight the machine or any machine. If something like that happens, you just turn it off and lock it down like I did. Okay? And I'm going to unlock it so it returns all the way. And let's try another cut, see if the same thing happens. Nice and slow. Yeah, see how it blew it out if you go slow? All right, so that's the simple operation. It could be a board or a panel. I'm gonna lock it down. Actually, I'm gonna leave it unlocked because we're gonna talk about the safety here real quick. So I've got my safety quiz here. Okay, and I'm gonna go through it with you because you gotta pass this by 100%. Okay, so you have to have my permission to use this machine. Even though you may have passed this safety test by 100% and you performance tested with me by your side showing me that you can use the machine, okay, I still have to be in the shop and I still have to give you permission to be using the equipment, okay? There may be days where we're not using the equipment, that we're doing something else. So you do have to have my permission to use the radial arm saw. All right, next question. You are to always wear eye protection when using any of the equipment, or if you're over here at the tables and we have a student using the equipment. If even one person is working, everybody needs safety glasses, and they are in the sanitizer cabinet over there. Okay? Always wear safety glasses. You are to remove any jewelry. If you have a bracelet, anything baggy, they recommend no rings on a lot of the equipment. I've got a rubber ring so it can't grab me and cause damage to my finger. Baggy clothing, you want to, you know, if you've got a baggy sweater, maybe you have to roll up the sleeves or take it off. Don't want to have baggy clothing on any of the equipment. And your hair, if you've got longer hair, I've got hair ties in the red cabinet over there. You're going to want to pull your hair back before using any equipment. You don't want your hair to get tangled up into a cutter head, right? So that's important. All right, I mentioned that the next safety rule, fingers 6 inches from the blade, and that's on any of our machinery. Fingers minimum of 6 inches. All right, on this particular machine, our left hand always holds our part to be cut, and our right hand pulls the blade through. Okay, and we've mentioned that it only you only pull it through an inch past. There's no reason for it to come all the way out. And then, you know, scrap has a better ability to get behind the blade and cause it to kick out or kick back. All right, never cross your arms on this machine. If you were to cross your arms, check this out. It's putting your arm in the path of the blade. That doesn't make sense, does it? So left hand holds, right hand pulls. Okay, that's the only way you're going to be operating this machine. All right, As in the case of all the other machines, I only want you to cut one piece at a time. Don't stack your pieces up and cut multiple. One piece at a time. All right, so yeah, using your right hand to return the saw. This saw has a cable on it, and it's helping you, it's pulling against you. So you may have to, if you're a smaller student, you may have to put your left foot forward so you can have a good base to pull this with your right hand, okay? Because there is, you're working against the resistance cable there. Once you return it back, if there's nobody else in line behind you, go ahead and lock it down right here. There is a safety question about setting the blade depth. I've got that set. I don't want you to make any adjustments on this machine. There's actually a handle down here where we could raise and lower the column and or the blade. We're going to leave it where it is. It recommends not lower than an 1/8 inch below the table. All right, so we are using this radial arm saw only for cross cutting, which means it's across the grain, not with the grain. If we're cutting with the grain, it's ripping. We never rip on this saw. We're going to use the table saws to rip with, okay? So never ripping with the radial